The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
Valley, hooey Hollywood, where any office boy or young mechanic can be a panic with just a good-looking pan. And any barmaid can be a star maid if she dances with or without a plan. Hooray for Hollywood, where you're terrific if you're even good. Where anyone at all from Shirley Temple to Amy Semple is equally understood. Go out and try your luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to a Radulich and Broadcasting premiere podcast, Damn You Hollywood. And here, there it is. Cute triangle. No, there it is. Him, that guy right there. There's your host, Robert Winfree. Yay!
You'd think you would figure this out one of these times. We've only been doing this on video for how long?
Nope. I'm just gonna vogue.
Mark, I don't need another reason to punch you, but if you start miming, that might push me over the edge. Nobody likes a mime. Hello, everyone. This is Damn You Hollywood, or our sad attempt at no longer wishing to end our own lives. Another excuse to just see out the end of the day and see what happens tomorrow.
It's our first real show of the year, not counting our year-end special. Could we liven it up a little? Jazz? Could I have a little jazz, Robert Winfree?
Not with this movie.
Not for this show, no. Well, we are talking about M3GAN.
Or M3GAN, however you want to pronounce it.
I pronounced it Steve.
Shut up, Meg. So joining us for this discussion, Mark already mentioned, I'm Robert, he's Mark. We have joining us Alexis Hejna of Honeysuckle Rose Creations and Jason Teasley of one of the innumerable fantasy football podcasts that you can find on the internet.
I just noticed you changed your name.
How you
Mosaic.
doing,
I'm doing good. It's Mosaic Media MC.
The MC, I assume, does not stand for Master of Ceremonies.
No, it stands for Media Creation. So yeah, it's Mosaic MC Media Creations.
All right, so here's what we're doing tonight, folks. We are talking M3GAN, and it's a 2022 American science fiction horror film directed by Gerard Johnstone from a screenplay by Akela Cooper.
A few of those, to be clear, a few of those tags for this thing's genre are alleged and alleged only.
And a story by Cooper and James Wan. James Wan is the only name any of you should care about. He brought us that wonderful picture from 2 years ago, Malignant. He's also responsible for the over $1 billion earning Aquaman.
Well, James Wan is pretty awesome. You should know the screenwriter from a couple of other things. This is the same writer. She also wrote Malignant, along with Wan, and she did a couple of other things that got released in the last few years. So I generally enjoy her work, but nobody bats 1,000.
So this was another Blumhouse feature for Universal. Last year's winner of all things money. I don't care what Paramount says. The film stars Allison Williams, Violet McGraw, with Amie Donald physically portraying M3GAN and Jenna Davis voicing the character. And the plot follows the eponymous artificial intelligent doll who develops self-awareness and becomes hostile, I tell you, to anyone who comes between her and her human companion. And I want to...
Mark, she just wanted a dance fight scene a la West Side Story, and she just couldn't get it.
Listen, in the year of our Lord 2023, who doesn't want a dance fight scene?
Me. I can
Okay,
do
besides
just
you,
no
we-
fun.
Yeah, Alexis and I, every Friday night, we have a dance fight, don't we, Alexis?
Little hard to do from Missouri to Florida, but sure.
I thought we were
It's
just
via
gonna,
Zoom.
I thought we were just gonna rumble with those sharks, not without 4 years of ballet and jazz tap. You're not.
From the top, people.
So I want to kick off tonight's discussion. So I, like you guys, kind of struggled with this movie. I got dozed off in parts. I was kind of like, there was at one point where I really had a Robert Winfree moment, and I do enjoy these moments where I sit there and I question my own existence and my life choices. I'm sitting in the theater and I'm with the polycule and the children, and one fourth of the polycule, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching this movie and I'm like, the things we do for content, the things I do,
no one even sees.
the things I do to try to do a weekly show with my good friend Robert Winfree, and then these other two jabronis, and so at the end of the movie, the kids are all talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, I like this part. I like this part," and like they were really reacting positively to the movie. They were into it, and we took my daughter out for dinner afterwards for her birthday, and there was a discussion amongst the adults, and I started to make a negative comment about the movie, and Kelsey goes, "Yeah, but you know what? This was a great horror movie to bring kids to." And the kids range from like 8 to 12. And I thought about that. And even before we discussed the merits of that argument vis-a-vis this movie, I did want to know from you guys. Now, you three are all three psychotic, satanic gorehounds. Who like to drink the blood of goats and children. And goat horse, from where you stand.
Says the guy who routinely listens to Cannibal Corpse, Dying Fetus, and Goat Whore.
And Deicide, of which I own a t-shirt. I also am very familiar with John Cougar concentration camp, but that's not what I came here to tell you right now.
For God's sake.
That's a real thing. He's not making a joke.
Yeah, that's not a made-up
That's why I
band name.
reacted the way I did.
But I'm going to start with you, Jason, and then Alexis, and we'll round out with Robert. How old were you when you discovered your first horror movie, and what was it?
I think the first horror movie I seen was Friday the 13th Part 3 in theaters. So that would have put me at 4 or 5. And then I proceeded to chase my brother and aunt around because of my name being Jason. I chased them around my grandmother's house with a knife because, that's what I do. But yeah, I was probably about 4 or 5. I mean, I think Friday the 13th Part 2 or 3 was my first intro to horror, and then right around that time was also Nightmare on Elm Street. It was in '84, so I was like 6. so
maybe a little young for the genre, eh?
No, I mean, no, because that is how I grew up. I mean, maybe that's why I'm desensitized as I am now, but.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it takes something really outstanding like Velocipaster to get you going, get the blood flowing to the right organ.
Right. I mean, that is rigor mortis to the groin, Velocipaster.
Well, yeah.
Insert special effects here. But yeah, I was very young when I was introduced to the slasher horror genre.
Who introduced you to the horror genre? Or did you
My
just
mom.
your mom actually sat you down to be like, "No, Jason, good little boys watch Nightmare on Elm Street"?
No, I was going to theater. I seen these movies in theater.
Okay.
So my mom was taking me to the theater to see these movies.
Okay. What about you, Alexis? Who introduced you to horror, and what was it?
Admittedly, I'm kind of the rare person now because I didn't watch horror growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I had nightmares easily when I was a kid, so I didn't get into horror until I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was actually an old friend of mine from high school who was a huge horror hound who got me into it. I want to say it's because he had the entire Nightmare on Elm Street collection.
Mm-hmm.
So he showed me 1 and 3 of those. And I got
Dream
him.
Warriors with the fucking puppet scene in the veins. Blah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Blah.
Creepy.
Blah.
You don't like all the tendons and ligaments being extruded from your body and then used to puppet you around, Mark?
Oh,
Hoo-ah!
yeah.
No.
Who wouldn't love that? But yeah, I actually still remember going to Blockbuster on Fridays, and to get to the new releases, I had to swing through the horror section, and I hated it when I was a kid because I hated seeing all the posters for horror movies on those cassettes.
Yeah,
those VHSs. I'm so old. So.
You having a stroke? What happened there?
Yeah, I was concerned for a moment.
A very, very lousy attempt at doing an old person voice.
I was going to say, how was I the only one that got that?
Because you and Alexa have a special bond. Anyway, what about you?
Say Alexa again. See what happens.
Yeah, could you pronounce my name right, please?
No, I get it. You and Steve really share a lot of common traits and special connections. Anyway, Robert, what about you?
Well, here's the thing about this.
No, here we go.
No.
Everybody sit back.
I mean this in all sincerity.
And good night.
I mean this in all sincerity. Consider our ages. Right?
Okay.
When we were growing up, there's horror elements in the stuff that was kids' fare.
True.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Like that was so to say. When did you get introduced to horror? I don't know. Like when I watched when I watched Sleeping Beauty.
It's fair.
There's stuff there.
Yeah.
Never-ending Story.
Never-ending Story has some definite horror elements.
Anything with I was gonna say anything with Rankin and Bass.
Didn't watch any of those.
Secret of Nim.
Secret of Nim. That's horror elements. That's one that I watched a lot of.
Wait, you never seen like the Tolkien cartoons or The Last Unicorn?
No, actually.
I've seen them.
I've never seen those.
I might have seen The Last Unicorn.
That's all Rankin and Bass animation where everyone's face looks like a pile of laundry and there's always spit coming out of everyone's mouth and everyone's screaming and carrying on.
Kind of like a Tuesday night at the Radulich house.
Go fuck yourself, Jason. Go on, Robert.
So there was a lot of just stuff in the kid stuff that I watched when I was a younger child that was, hey, here's horror elements in your kid stuff. Here's a psychotic clown in a fireman suit spraying forks in a toaster oven. It's a thing. So then I don't know if you, again, because I've argued that monster movies aren't actually horror movies.
Mm.
So I don't know if you count my younger childhood obsession with Godzilla in that same vein. But when I was, I don't know, 8-ish, 9, I saw Tremors for the first time. And that's a monster movie and kind of a horror movie, again, in a throwback sort of way. I think that same night I saw the Twilight Zone movie, which, if you're a little kid, has some freaky stuff in it.
Yeah. Yes, yes, it does.
The scene that stuck with me from that actually was the guy on a ledge and there are SS officers shooting at him. Just taking turns, take a shot. You missed. Okay, next one. Take a shot. Yeah, you missed. Your turn.
I was thinking about horror elements. They really, back in the day, there was really good blending of different elements for movies. So Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh yeah.
Clearly an adventure film with horror elements to it, right down to the very end where they open the Ark of the Covenant and everyone's face melts off.
Ditto Temple of Doom, leaning even more into the horror side of things.
Right.
But even Last Crusade, when the guy drinks from the wrong cup.
I was thinking also the blending of comedy and horror. You have on the one side of that Evil Dead, where there's some campy elements to that. Which, by the way, use that trailer for the new one. I'm
looking forward to that.
I am not.
Dorian Price will happily take your spot, Mark. He asked if he can come back for that.
You can't throw me off my own show, you asshole. I will be here.
He's just whining.
Yeah, I'm just whining at this
You're saying
point.
you said you weren't looking forward to it. I was giving you an out.
I don't take the outs. I man up. Anyway,
Dorian wants to come back for that one.
That's fine. Dorian can come back. He can have your spot. Keep throwing me off my show. But I remember also the blending of comedy and horror, like I was saying, and then the other side of that would be Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Yeah.
That definitely had a lot of horror elements to it. Last go around, and then we'll actually get into the plot of this thing. So it was posited this M3GAN is a really good movie to introduce little kids, tween kids, to the horror, gremlins, to the horror genre. If Jason, I remember this conversation with your stepdaughter. where you were like, I want years and years and years ago when she was about my kid's age, where you were like, I want to introduce her to the horror genre. If not this movie, what would you pick, or what did you pick at the time?
Oh no, I mean, I've taught her the way I learned. We went straight into the original Child's Play.
Okay.
I mean, and yes, I threatened to buy her my buddy and hide it in her room and move it every so often. But yeah, I mean, yeah, she is. I remember, and this is going to sound funny, one of the quote unquote horror movies that she watched. It's actually popped up on my timeline recently. Was she sat down and watched Zombie Tidal Wave with me that we reviewed?
Currently, our most popular review on YouTube, by the way.
And it was. She sat down and watched that. That was one of the first quote unquote horror movies that, like, after I introduced her to Child's Play and she didn't sleep for 2 days, that like she willingly came in and kind of showed interest in, and it kind of branched out for there. I asked her about going to see this, and it was a legitimate not no. It was hell no, I will not sleep. And I was like, no, it's not that bad. And after I seen it, I was like, you watch Child's Play? She's like, yeah, but she's like, there's something about that girl that freaks me out that I won't be able to sleep. And I kind of get it from her perspective because, you know, like I said, I'm really jaded. This movie had absolutely no horror in engagement from me at all. But I guess
we're gonna get there.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I could see it from her perspective. So, you know, like I said, I introduced her to one of the classics. Like I said, Child's Play, the original Child's Play, and she's watched all of the Child's Play all the way up to the most recent remake. And like she actually is engaged in them. But yeah, something like this, I understand where you was coming from as a introductory to the horror genre for younger generation.
When my kids started taking interest in the horror genre, we started with Scream. I think we did the first 2 Scream movies, and then I showed them Aliens. Well, you know, it's one of those where the problem with a lot of horror for me and young kids is, where do you draw the line with gore, and where do you draw the line with nudity? And for me, nudity is a hard no, and that eliminates like half the genre.
Sorry,
I don't care if you're dismembering people, but you can't see a boob.
No. I'm laughing at
Thank you, Sheila Broflovsky.
I'm laughing at you drawing the line at nudity.
Well, yeah, that's why I took a drink. That's why I took a drink.
I'm here to protect the children. Never mind my own dirty perversions.
Sure you are.
Okay, Alexis, you have like a niece or some shit, right? If you
were nephew, but he's only 6 months old.
Okay.
When are you going to introduce him to?
No, you have a sister, right? You have a younger sister.
Yeah. Okay.
If you have, or if you were going to introduce her to the horror genre, where would you go?
Well, Haley was 16 when we adopted her, so she was already into the horror genre. We did go see It Chapter 1 together in theaters, if that helps.
Good one.
We both jumped up like 5 feet when Pennywise jumps out of the projector.
And Robert, you have younger brothers, like a generation younger than you.
Yeah, they're like 12 years younger, 12 and 13, I think.
So when did you make them watch the Babadook?
I did not make them watch the Babadook.
You make me watch the Babadook, but you don't make them watch the Babadook? What's the Babadook wrong with you?
By the time it came out, they both watched it of their own accord. I'd already done my job.
Oh, okay. So going back in time.
Again, like I kind of brought them up on the stuff that I was brought up on. So, you know, it's a lot of stuff that has horror elements to it. And then after a certain point, like, okay, here's Saw. Because this is because it's not that gory. It's a lot more, again, intellectual. Here's, you know, Silence of the Lambs, which is another one that was kind of formative for my take on the genre. And yeah, and then Evil Dead 2, I think, was one of the ones that at some point. But it's, you know, Gremlins was in there. I mean, Tremors is kind of the big gateway for a lot of younger people into the horror subgenre, especially like monster-based horror. So yeah, it was just kind of that, and then, you know, let them go off on their own journey. I mean, I'm kind of a silly hardliner about some of this. I don't even know what I'd call him. The 3-year-old that my aunt has custody of, who's now at the point when he's like, no, I'm a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, then turn off Paw Patrol, and I would like to show you Oz.
You know what I've always wondered? What's he gonna do with that grease? Never you mind that. All right, speaking of what we're gonna do with grease, give me that hot plot synopsis.
All right, so M3GAN opens as all good stories do. Oh, Roald Dahl books. Also, like novels, I think did a lot more for my love of horror than movies did for a long time.
Okay.
Anyway, as all good movies do, it opens with the death of parents and the orphaning of a small child.
Welcome to Disney.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
I was really surprised when the kids started singing "Let It Go."
Yeah,
but go on.
I wasn't.
I was really hoping that right before they got hit, it was, "Do you want to build a snowman?"
That would have been great. Instead of them getting just killed in the car, if they had gotten out and she's like, "Do you want to build a snowman?" Meet me.
That would have been epic.
Tell me I'm not the only one who got a little freaked out by that commercial that opened up the movie. I was the only one in the theater, and I actually shouted, "What the fuck?"
Okay, when the toy started shitting, I laughed hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see what we're doing here, you crazy people. All right, go ahead. Everyone shut up. Stop interrupting Robert. Go ahead, Robert. We can never let this guy get a word in edgewise. Go ahead, Robert. Do the plot synopsis, Robert. Whenever you're ready, Robert. I'm here for you, Robert.
I know you got one more. Come on.
Shut up, Alexis.
That's just That's just uncalled for. Anyway, our girl, whose name I forget because no one in this movie matters. Now, the young girl is orphaned as her family's car is hit because she was born, unfortunately, to hipsters who understand neither what four-wheel drive actually is, or somehow people who live in the Pacific Northwest that didn't understand what chaining your tires are. I lived in Oregon for 5 years. You people are a blight. Anyway, so she's orphaned because of her parents' stupidity. Her aunt takes custody, her aunt who works for a toy factory and is in her own time building Ultron. Diverting corporate funds to make Skynet just something we want to do. They don't get along because the aunt doesn't really know what to do with a kid, and the kid is traumatized and doesn't really know what to do with a person, and is a small child. Eventually, the kid says something about, if I had a toy like this, it would be the last toy I'd ever need, and this somehow spurs the creative genius of our pseudo-protagonist here into, yes, this is how we will create the android of the future. So she again subverts corporate funds, commits all kinds of actual crimes, and finishes M3GAN, this small, 4-foot-tall, titanium, ceramic, and silicone-covered android that I'm sure will be a big hit in Japan for unrelated reasons.
I was not going to touch I was going to say that. I was not going to touch it, though. I'm glad that Robert...
You're not going to touch it, but I know a lot of Japanese businessmen who will... Keep going, Robert.
I'm trying to get us thrown off Twitch, just in case you haven't realized that. I'm getting there. She demonstrates M3GAN and M3GAN's capability, and M3GAN is, like most inevitably psychotic AI, somewhat personable. The CEO of this toy company sees, yes, this is going to cost an arm and a leg, but this is going to be something that no one can copy. This is going to be a great thing. We will throw money and resources and time behind this, and we'll start production on more M3GANs. Because the world needs more M3GANs, I guess. It's a name that's falling out of favor. Set against this backdrop is the young child trying to deal with her trauma and becoming attached to M3GAN as a sort of person, even though she's not actually a person. There's a neighbor who has a dog that gets killed because it attacks them at one point. And the primary function of M3GAN is to keep little girls safe, and dog poses threats. So dead dog. She then murders the neighbor not too long after that, like you do.
I mean, really, who hasn't murdered a neighbor, especially in the year of our Lord 2023?
With a pressure washer, might I add.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to do it, also you want to make sure everything is kept clean.
Yeah. Make sure you cleaned up all evidence.
Right.
After that,
that's another one for the file, FBI.
Yeah, right before that, M3GAN is taken to this girl's sort of they're trying to get her into school because it's what kids should do. And she's like, I won't go to school if I can't take M3GAN. I was homeschooled, and this aunt is like, that's kind of why you are the way you are. We're trying to fix this. I said, well, here's this alternative school because we live in Washington, probably Seattle, and everything's alternative. And God, the flannel.
I think it's called wild schooling. I've been hearing a lot more about it.
I hate everything.
It's
No, didn't say I support it.
I know. No, I believe you. That's why I hate it.
If you're going to sigh at the comment, you have to read the comment.
So, someone from our YouTube, we thank you for watching. The movie automatically sucks due to a dog dying. Will not see. And you know what? I respect it.
Yep. Thank you for anyone watching, commenting or not. Thank you for tuning in. Keep going, Robert.
In all sincerity, yes, thank you. So now with a growing amount of homicides to her name, there's a little bit of tension as M3GAN is now, again, she's Ultron. She is connected into the Wi-Fi. She is everywhere. She has taken over the house assistant AI for our happy little family. She's intercepting phone calls if they're in proximity to her. She's blacking out data. She's not letting herself be uploaded to the cloud. And why wouldn't you want yourself to be uploaded to the cloud? And
she's driving nice sports cars.
After all of this, at some point, finally, a degree of common sense kicks in, and the aunt goes, you know, something might be wrong with this unholy abomination I have created. So I will power it down, wrap it in duct tape, and take it to the lab for diagnostics, which they do. And she and the small child finally bond a little bit when she goes, don't you understand? Trauma has to be confronted and dealt with. You can't just distract yourself from it with a shiny, blonde-haired, 4-foot-tall silicone doll. And no, I'm sure that wasn't aimed at a certain segment of humanity.
I mean, first of all, I beg to differ, but I don't want to derail the podcast.
You can beg all you want. You ain't that different. While M3GAN is being diagnosed, she attacks, she injures a couple of people, violently murders the CEO, and then frames some stupid page who was stealing company secrets in a subplot this movie absolutely did not need.
Yeah.
Or pay off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that this movie was going to have a sequel because, I mean, they'd already announced that they're planning one. I thought it was going to be because we see him stealing files.
Right.
I thought it was going to be he was stealing files for the competitive, the competition, and then we were going to get a post-credit scene or something. It's like, hey, Kurt mailed off these emails before he tragically died or something.
Yeah, he needed to be meeting with Newman outside of like a Caribbean bar of some sort.
Dachshund, we got Dachshund here.
See, no one cares.
Exactly.
Nice hat. What are you, a spy?
Like half the people watching it, that was a Jurassic Park reference.
Yeah.
The other half, go watch Jurassic Park.
Speaking of horror movies that are good to introduce small children to, Jurassic Park.
I showed that to my kids as well. All right, moving on.
Anyway, so she kills a couple of people, escapes, steals a sports car, drives home, menaces the aunt and this turns into a fight. The other robot is revived, and then Vin Diesel shows up for a message about family.
Like
eventually,
a Transformer shows up from the Michael Bay movies, in which case you can see its balls.
But what's his face? Mark
Ball
Wahlberg.
cupping.
Well, look, Mark Wahlberg shows up to just remind us all to drink Bud.
That's right. Stanley Tucci shows up and says, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Except he only says it with his face.
Christian Bale flies off into the middle of the ocean only to be revived in Paris.
That's right.
James Cameron arrives because reasons, and immediately the budget quadruples for the CGI finale battle.
Doctor Strange shows up and is shoved off screen by a small Hispanic girl.
Yeah.
Littlefoot shows up, so we all have an emotional connection.
That would have actually been the closest we got to an emotional connection.
I see Alexis's tumor growing. I'm a tumor.
At the end of this big fight, the M3GAN doll is destroyed. Everyone lives happily ever after, except the M3GAN AI. Again, it's in the cloud, it's in the household assistant, so sequel bait.
All right, Jason, I know you've been chomping at the bit, and then Alexis. Jason's like all day long, be like, this, so give us your 30 seconds of insight. Go ahead, Jason. That you've been waiting all day for this.
This movie sucked a bag of donkey dicks. It was a cheap ripoff and dumbed down version of a much better 80s movie that was mentioned earlier in the start of my daughter's horror venture in Child's Play. This movie was bad. I made the joke earlier. Alexis said that she was watching the movie in the theater all alone. I said there's a reason because of that. Now we get to talk about that reason. Yeah, this movie wasn't good. The pacing was very, very horrible. It introduced a subplot that never paid off. The only thing that was actually good about this was the whole forest scene where she kills the boy, and I kind of got taken out of that just for the comical ear ripping off because
I was going to say that prosthetic. It kills me because the prosthetics for M3GAN are amazing, but that prosthetic ear,
it was like
the entire budget went into just M3GAN.
Mhm.
Yeah,
every single one of these actors got scale.
It looked like he was pulling apart a grilled cheese sandwich.
The first time you see it and it's stretching, it's almost too subtle. The second time is when you kind of go, oh. By the time it's the third one, it's like, oh, silly putty.
Right? Yeah. I mean, when you started jumping rope with it, I was really like, hey, this is a bit too far.
When it was Colonel Parker.
I mean, I don't know if ears stretch like that, and I'm not really interested in finding out, but it still looked really wrong. It looked so plasticky.
Yeah, like I said, it looked like somebody was just pulling apart a grilled cheese sandwich by the last scene of it. And it was just like, I don't know. This movie had so much premise, but I feel like no premise. It was premise.
Like,
don't ever fucking correct me. Yeah.
Don't you correct me?
You don't correct me.
Don't correct me.
You talking to me, or am I talking to you?
Girls. Nobody wants either.
We're all pretty.
I know we're both pretty.
Okay, but
nobody wants either of you.
Hey, I'm married. Somebody got drunk enough for that. But anyway,
you know what? I'm trying. Look, it's 2023 in the year of our Lord. I'm trying not to do the same passive aggressive routine I did in 2022. So let's just keep on going. But don't set me up like that, Robert.
Yeah. But I really feel like this was an attempt to gender swap Child's Play and try to get a female antagonist.
This is not the critical drinker. I don't
know. I'm just saying because I mean, if you boil it down, this was the basic screenplay for Child's Play.
It's a similar setup, but the entire story is very different.
Well, have you watched a new Child's Play?
Not the most.
Do not bring that atrocity against
the remake of Child's Play is basically this movie with very, very poor setup and payoff. Yeah, I mean, it's one movie that I would actually put below M3GAN, if not for Mark Hamill. But it was basically too self-aware, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted more gore, more suspense, and more deaths to actually make me feel like it was a horror movie. This feels like an after-school special of watered-down Goosebumps from the early 90s.
All right, Alexis, before you go to sleep on us, what were some of the craft elements you want to talk about?
I will say that I was very impressed with how they made M3GAN look. They clearly used I know that the further away shots were an actress in a suit. Right. They clearly used a lot of puppetry for the close-up shots. Very limited CGI from what I could tell. And I think it's the blend of that really helped it look very impressive. You know,
up until the end when she's fighting without a face and it's just so obviously.
Well, yeah, that. I didn't think it was terrible. It's not a movie that I'm dying to see again. It's not a movie that I'm like, oh, let's go get it on Blu-ray. Enjoyed it. Walked down. Was like, okay, going home. Just didn't really do anything for me. Again, I didn't think it was terrible. I've sat through far worse for you, Mark.
Oh my God.
But I thought it was okay, and like I said before, for a PG-13 horror film, which we've talked before, usually has a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And for one put out in January, which is always cursed.
Yeah, for those watching who don't know this is commonly known by movie people as "fuck you, it's January."
By movie people, he means us in the network. I don't think that particular affectation is caught on.
Movies in January. Well, I mean, think about it.
January and September is where the studios dump their movies to die.
We know that, but I'm just saying that particular affectation I don't think is caught on beyond
it makes sense for January because we have already had the cutoff for the awards.
Right.
So no award stuff's going to get released, and everyone's done with the holiday breaks. Everyone's gone back to work or school. So
the town made a point of saying that January is also where they do some counter programming to whatever came out during Christmas. So basically, like, if you've gone to see Avatar, if you've gone to see Puss in Boots, and you're looking for something to see, there's this new movie out there.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to think someone would counter program Avatar, but instead everyone just looked at January and went, no.
Well, I'll tell you what. Wait, they maybe try.
Here's what happened. A solid quarter of James Cameron's film budget was just him paying off executives like, hey, stay out of my way for a month. Change your release schedule, stay out of my way for a month.
As of last week, it finally crossed the $2 billion mark. And so the thought for Universal may have been, we'll give Avatar a bit of a window, and then we'll put our nice little horror movie in there. The kids will not be in school just yet. It'll be fine. And people went, no, we'll just go see Avatar. It's fine. Can make that movie $2 billion.
I have no idea why people.
And now Titanic's getting re-released because Cameron just needs so much more money.
Anything else, Alexis, before we move on? No,
I think I said everything I need to. It's not terrible. If you're curious about it, go check it out. But it's a meh.
Yeah. So here's my issue with the movie. I think, and I want to speak to these elements specifically because I don't want to keep repeating what Jason and Alexis said. So I agree about the pacing. On the one hand, the CGI is really good. On the other hand, the pacing is really bad. My son asked me, "Does this pass the stupid test?" And I said, "No. Everyone in here is dumb, or you don't have a movie."
Right.
Problem with
dumb.
So much dumb. But I do think, and Robert and I have talked about this on many a show, about perspective, about using your movie to talk about something in a way that's entertaining, but also addresses an issue. And I did like the fact that in a dumb way,
Be
that the movie
careful
that the movie does speak to, from about 50 yards, the idea of like childhood trauma. A child's worst nightmare is the possibility of being orphaned, losing their parents, and what that might be like for them. I did like the fact that not every one of your relatives tasked to raise a child is prepared for it, and mistakes get made, and these are things that can be corrected. But it's not easy, and you damage relationships with children along the way. Like, you remove the M3GAN elements of it, and you just deal with the aunt and the niece characters. There's a lot there. I talked about this in theory. I talked about this with like the Invisible Woman when we were discussing that. I don't think we actually reviewed it, but we talked about it a lot, about how there were, Blumhouse does a fairly decent job of.
You mean the Invisible Man?
Yeah, the Invisible Man. Sorry.
Yeah, because that one we did review.
Yeah,
we do. The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I gave a shout out for abuse victims before.
Yeah.
And we liked pretty much everything except the ending.
Okay, so like Blumhouse, I think, does a halfway decent job of recognizing that these are great platforms to talk about some things. I think they try not to go heavy-handed with it because they are. These are horror movies. These are, general entertainment movies, so they can't hammer it, too much. But I was thinking about like my kids that were watching it, and listening to them talk about the movie afterwards, I couldn't deny the fact that this was speaking to them, and they got it. We four old crusty adults can shit on this movie all we want, but I want to commend them for hitting the target audience in a way that the target audience responded positively, and that's to the movie's credit. So I liked those elements of it. I liked the elements of dealing with trauma. I liked the elements of dealing with how does a family move on after the loss of parents, that sort of thing. The kid's not the world's greatest actor, but I thought she handled.
Hang on, I'm gonna defend her for just a second.
Wait, hang on. Because I said she's not the world's greatest actor, but I think she did well with what she was given. And I think her trying to get across that she's sort of like this, tortured, traumatized, emotional child, I thought she did well enough with it. There were times where I thought, I can't tell if that's purposeful or she's overacting, but I'm also not going to slam her for it. You want to weigh in?
I've seen her in other stuff. She's the younger sister in the Black Phone as well.
Oh, no. Right. Her sister was in Black Phone.
Oh, really?
She was in Bly Manor.
She was in Bly Melon? Was she
Bly Manor?
Was she the Bumblebee?
They
the
look
Haunting
way
of Bly Manor, the TV series.
Yeah.
The Flanagan series.
They look way too much alike then. Okay, I'm going to withdraw
that. Well, yeah,
that.
they're sisters.
Well, even sisters. Like that's I didn't know that until like are they twins?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, okay, retracted. I'll just agree with you then. Like she's passable, but I think her sister's actually is probably the more talented of the two.
Right, hang on. So she's been in Ready Player One. Oh no, that's an uncredited role. Never mind. She's been in Bennett's War, Our Friend. She's in Doctor Sleep as Violet. Hey, she's young Yelena Belova in Black Widow. She's in Separation, and then she's in 2 other things. Yeah, she's also in The Haunting of Hill House, and she's in something called Jet. There you go. So she's not the one that's in the Black.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, wrong Flanagan project. I got them mixed up.
You're forgiven. They're all kind of the same.
Anyway.
So here's my bit. I have like 3 major gripes with this movie. It's not scary. It is badly and inconsistently written. And boy, is it boring.
Yeah, I was that first hour where they're setting up, giving her the doll and everything. I kept fucking dozing off.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I did like the scene with the therapist and Gemma having to unbox that collectible. I know so many people who collect Funkos and other things, and the look on her face when she's got to cut that open, I'm like, that hurts.
You were saying, Robert?
I didn't know you weren't supposed to take Funkos out of the box. I've got 3 of them. I get them for Christmas on occasion. They're all out of the box. They're just sitting over here.
Oh, you took the one I gave you out of the box?
Yeah. Was I not supposed? Again, like I didn't know I wasn't supposed
all
to.
All of mine are mint in box. All of mine are mint in box.
I've got, because you sent me.
I sent you George St. Pierre, didn't I?
No, you sent me John Wick.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Because I've got John
you
Wick.
Sent me Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I've got John Wick.
I didn't get shit.
You're a lying sack of shit, and your mother dresses you funny.
I did not get nothing this year.
This year, the year that I sent everyone Funko Pops because I was, when I was dying, you all sent me a what was it? A cameo of people from from The Wire.
We know you well.
That's true.
No, I've got that. I've got Ash Williams. And one of my brothers gave me Hannibal Lecter this year. So awesome. I've got a few of them. They're just kind of hanging out. But again, the first hour of this movie, I understand like setup. You can make setup interesting, please. That's kind of important.
This had the very much like we want to see the kid get the doll and the doll start to go haywire, and it takes forever to get there.
And again, there's nothing interesting along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have cut the neighbor out.
No,
the
you needed those elements.
No, you didn't.
You kind of do. I mean, you need cannon fodder. So there's stuff you do need here. It's just badly implemented.
Okay, this movie was 102 minutes. This needed another pass through editing and make it a tight 90. I'd
agree with that.
Yeah, this is a 90-minute feature that was stretched out way too long, which seems to be a running thing. I mean, at least it wasn't 3 the fuck hours, but like everything else this past year.
Yeah, you're not kidding there.
Could you imagine this 3 hours?
No.
No.
You'd have lost every kid in the fucking audience, first of all.
I can imagine it. I don't like it, but I can imagine it.
Yeah.
There's no real.
I can also imagine getting my dick slammed in the door, but I don't want to.
We don't care what you do on Sunday nights, Mark. But anyway, continue.
Thursday nights.
Oh, okay. My bad.
It's how he sets up for the Friday podcast.
It's true.
There's no tension. Like for a movie that's supposed to be scary, there's nothing here that's really like. There's nothing here that really builds tension. There's nothing here that like you get like one or two jump scares that are telegraphed and not terribly effective. The kills are lackluster to be charitable. The one where she scares the kid into getting hit by the truck, I actually thought that was the most effective thing that was done because it shows a degree of intelligence, like, hey, I can get away with this.
Right.
Somehow killing someone with a handheld pressure washer that exudes enough force to knock a grown woman across a shed.
It was a fire hose.
Is just stupid.
Who wants to drink from the fire hose?
How many deaths were there's only like 3 deaths, weren't there?
The kid,
4.
the neighbor. Yeah, but I mean, okay, so
the kid and the neighbor.
I was well, hang on. That's a huge problem with this movie. It takes 100 years to get to your first kill, and then the last 10 minutes of the movie, she kills everyone. She just goes on killing.
Yeah, there's 4.
And it's like
because the 2 in the elevator. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, there's almost no like real tension to most of this. I mean, trying to milk tension out of boy, you better disconnect the cables from the murder doll. From the murder bot needs to be disconnected. Like we all
plug it.
you can't get tension out of that scene when the entire structure of your story requires there to be no tension here. Like we all know what's going to happen. So trying to milk tension out of it requires a deft hand, and there was no deftness here. The writing of this thing is unbearably clunky, and it unfortunately tries to tackle about 5 things, none of them well. On the one hand, you we're trying to deal with, childhood trauma and how do you deal with it. Then there's the discussion of, consumer greed and and again, that one's like loosely in the background, but it's there and we can't pretend it's not. Then there's, well, boy, we're too reliant on machines and the screens are taking over our lives. And then at the end, for some unknown reason, it turns into a loose commentary on domestic violence.
And just for good measure.
Sprinkle a little.
None of this is cohesive. None of this actually works. And none of this resonates in any kind of real way. It's a mess of writing. It's an absolute mess. The fact that our big finale is M3GAN shows up and goes, again, like turns into an abusive spouse. I came here to try and find a solution.
I would have laughed myself silly if she said, "This is your fault for burning the meatloaf."
Then there's this weird line that's thrown in there that if they'd actually gone with it, would have been an interesting twist. But when M3GAN goes, I miss when it was just you and me. All those times you spent trying to get me programmed properly. Remember we used to stay up and talk about everything? And then the kid came along.
And they killed the kid? Yes, that would have been awesome.
I actually could have appreciated a bit of a reversal there with M3GAN, like, no, it was actually you and me. Like, that's what I think actually works here and what needs to happen. Instead, it turns into, and now I'm gonna, cause you brain damage.
What you're talking about, though, takes a bit of bravery and the willingness to do a tragic twist ending that just doesn't exist in Hollywood right now. Not on the big screen, at least.
For the record, you don't actually have to kill the kid. I just mean like the narrative twist. Like I prefer that you kill the kid, but you don't have
to. Kill the kid. Yeah, kill the kid.
Kill the kid.
Kill the kid. What? I mean, honestly,
an entire generation of us were traumatized by Reggie the Reckless, and now just wishing it up on Feldman and horror movies.
Yeah. What would have been cool though is, to build on what Robert was saying, is if
she had made him a cheeseburger.
Shut up. If, because one of the things that made M3GAN so unique is because it paired with the individual. But what would have been cool is that M3GAN was already paired with the aunt because they spent, and then like there would have been a jealousy of like she was just trying to, and you could have subtly done this, like her acting as a protector of the kid, but putting the kid in danger to try to eliminate it, like as an accident, and then just build on that. It's entirely
possible that was baked into the original script and they took it out because it would have overcomplicated it for the audience.
But
it might have.
But I think that would have been. I think that would have been an interesting layer that would have made this movie a lot more appealing. Is if there was like a jealousy of M3GAN over the kid, like M3GAN was getting replaced by the kid,
right?
And you had like the dynamic there, and then you kill the kid, and make it a horrific death. Don't make it.
You don't have to kill the kid, for the record, people.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, I mean,
Radulich Broadcasting Network. You don't actually have to kill a kid.
Okay, maim. Right. Hey, would you go with maim?
Real quick, we're getting close to the hour mark here. So Jason, finish up and let Robert say his final piece, and let's move on.
All right, so you just have to maim the kid. The kid's in the hospital.
The final battle here could have been more horrific. I'll absolutely give you that one.
Yeah, what was that Gerard Butler movie? Real Steel?
That wasn't Gerard Butler. That was
Hugh Jackman.
Was it Hugh Jackman? Same difference. But yeah, I mean,
Irish and it's Australian dude, not even close.
Yeah, they're all white people and they're all
they all look like Tyson.
Hang on, isn't Butler Scottish?
Oh my God, guys!
Mark,
I'm pretty sure he's Scottish.
Mark may get the reference. They all look like Tyson. But yeah, I mean, if you could have just like made M3GAN jealous of the girl and just kind of put her in danger to act like the protector, but in reality trying to eliminate her because she was actually paired with the aunt, I think that would have added a nice layer. But
yeah, the movie's just stupid. It's badly paced. It's boring. The director does not know how to get anything out of the actors.
This guy has no hyperlink. I'm wondering if he's done anything else.
Probably
sure
not.
He's not on.
I'm gonna check right now, but like, generally speaking, when there's no hyperlink on Wikipedia, that's not a good sign.
Oh shit, you're right.
If you don't have a wiki entry like that, again, that's a bad sign.
Yeah,
Hang on a second. Let me IMDb this guy.
So am I. So this guy, I'm gonna do it first. This guy, by the way, like was getting James Wan's coffee on Aquaman, and he was like, "You want a directing gig?"
You're probably more right than you know.
I mean, I have an IMDb page, but I mean,
do you really?
Yes, actually, I do.
Yeah.
Anyone heard of something called the Jackie Brown Diaries? Because apparently he spearheaded that.
Don't tell Mark anything about Jackie Brown because
not
I will
that
never
Jackie
recover.
Brown.
And the new Legends of Monkey.
That's racist. He's done nothing.
Yeah, this is so he struggles to get these actors to do anything. These are all like none of these actors are any good.
He won he was nominated for a Chainsaw Award. I have so many questions, but whatever this was, this thing called Housebound, apparently this is like his big claim to fame. So this is a comedy horror mystery, and he was the director and writer.
And the star.
And the best boy and the grip.
And the music composer.
First base. Gerard Johnstone, center field. Gerard Johnstone, catcher. Gerard Johnstone.
Just because Robert Rodriguez can make it work doesn't mean everyone can.
All right, Robert, are you done?
I don't think there was anything else. I did want to give credit to the physical actress who portrays M3GAN. It's hard to look robotic, believe it or not, and she pulls it off. So again, serious kudos to her.
I'm learning that dance, by the way.
Last thing Related to this movie being tonally wildly inconsistent, the use of music here is so comically all over the place, it removes the ability of the audience to invest.
No argument there.
All right, folks. Well, here it is, the first official money segment of on the year of our Lord 2023.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Oh, I forgot to put up Box Office Mojo. God damn it. All right. Well, on a budget of $12 million.
Some things never change.
Blow me. On a budget of $12 million. This thing has made 4 times that, just about. At $47.7 million. We are off to the races with our first big hit of 2023. What do you think about that, Robert Winfree, while I vamp here?
I don't think it's a big hit. I think it's a solid moneymaker for the studio, and those aren't necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, I think you're splitting hairs, buddy.
It is getting a sequel. It's been
No,
confirmed.
I'm not splitting hairs.
That fucking makes me hate Hollywood. Like him, him wanting to downplay the success of this movie because of Robert Winfree reasons, whatever. The fact that we can't just have something be successful, pat ourselves on the back, have a cigar and a hooker, and call it a day. No, everything has to have a fucking sequel. We have to make everything into a goddamn franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
Admittedly, though, I liked the ending, even if you didn't know there was going to be a sequel. Just that the light for the smart house thing comes on. I thought that was a good ending.
I'm fine with it. I'm not fine with we can't leave well enough alone.
Now, okay, just for the record, I'm not dumping on the movie in the sense that I'm calling it a loser. I'm saying calling it a hit seems like you're reaching and almost writing PR for for Blumhouse here. Like
it made 4 times its original production budget. Like
it was made for it was made for $12 million.
Yeah, I understand it was shot for a Big Mac and a stick of chewing gum, but give credit where credit's due.
I'm happy calling it a financial success and
you're acting like it's Moonfall, for God's sake. It didn't sink an entire studio.
I'm not calling it Moonfall. I'm just not calling it a big hit. I'm calling it
studio
successful.
That brought you Jason Bourne. Sorry.
Yeah. We remember that.
The old 355. All right. So Avatar: The Way of the Waiter in its 4th week, still the #1 movie and crossed the $2 billion mark. More on that in a moment. M3GAN solidly debuted at #2.
Again, very, very good stuff for Universal.
Yep. Puss in Boots, which I think now is on streaming somewhere.
It was out for 2 weeks. Now here it is.
It's on what's it called? VUDU?
Voodoo.
Okay. So it's PVOD. Got it. Mm-hmm. A Man Called Otto went wide in almost 8,000 theaters, so that jumped from 18 to 4. I actually know somebody who saw that, believe it or not. Black Panther.
I believe you.
Black Panther fell from 3 to 5. Whitney Houston, Whitney Houston's movie, real quick. Not doing well.
It should be called I Want Somebody Just to Watch This Movie instead of I Want to Dance with Somebody.
It seems a little
I wonder
long.
if it has the Bobby Brown beatings in it.
I hope. That fell from 4 to 6.
It might have the cocaine use.
The cocaine suicide?
I don't want to talk about that again. The Whale maintained its spot at #7 and opened up in more theaters. Babylon. Speaking of things that go.
Speaking of things that almost could sink a studio.
It's so funny that between these Top Gun Maverick, oh my God, Paramount is back. Never mind our shitty Star Trek shows where, Top Gun Maverick, we're on top of the world. We're going to be the #1 studio of the year. Babylon wiped it out entirely. It's amazing.
It took out so much of the profit that studio had made.
Yeah.
Everyone involved in Babylon should be sacked.
Everyone should be fired. Every actor should be beaten with something.
Just pick up Margot Robbie and start beating Brad Pitt with her.
No, we leave Brad Pitt alone. That wasn't his fault.
Beat the Mexican.
Everyone else.
All right. Violent Night, currently PVOD 6 to 9. The Menu 8 to 10, which is on HBO Max. The Fabelmans is probably streaming somewhere. 9 to 11. All right, and other things that debuted this week. The Conformist was a 2023 re-release that debuted at #29. Alcaraz, #30. And that is it for the weekend. Worldwide, I quick want to do 2022 because there ain't shit for 2023 just yet. So Avatar: The Way of the Water is officially the #1 movie of 2022. And somebody asked this.
At 1.7 billion.
Somebody asked this, so like doesn't it count for 2023? And it said no, if it was released 2022, even if it was released on like New Year's Eve, whatever movie it makes for 2022. That's how this works.
Yeah, it counts release date.
Yeah, so like Spider-Man No Way Home was the highest grossing movie of 2021, even though it made most of its money in 2022. Yeah. That's how that works. So The Way of the Waiter currently at 1.7, beating Top Gun Maverick at 1.4, Jurassic World at 1.
Hang on, it's worth noting about Avatar for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Its domestic take is only 500 million.
Right.
That thing is a big hit overseas, where you can just read subtitles and don't have to deal with the terrible line delivery.
Yeah. Something about blue cat monkey people. It really appeals to the foreigners. All right. Worldwide, once again, Guy Ritchie's movie playing somewhere in the world, but not in America. I don't know how that happened. It's the #1 movie right now worldwide at $2 million. Something called Switch for all you kinky people. That's at #2. Blueback 3. 4. Mummies 5.
I feel like this hasn't been updated.
I was going to say, where's M3GAN?
I can't even find M3GAN on here. What the hell?
Yeah.
That should be there.
Yeah, it's not, though. Okay.
Okay, Moving on. Mojo, failing miserably at your job.
Oh, my God. All right. So this weekend, see that... What the hell, Box Office Mojo? We've got The Devil Conspiracy that looks like it's in wide release this weekend. And Plane, which we're gonna review next week.
We are here. Look, we are trying to revive the style of '90s action movies. That's what we're trying to do here. We are that's our look. If we have an agenda for this year, we're gonna try and remind people that you can have standalone quality action movies like this.
What's gonna be the first?
I'm still convinced that thing was named because they were just like into hour 18 of a marketing debacle. They couldn't assign the name. Finally, someone just said, "There, it's named Plane. There, done. Everyone go home."
Everyone get the fuck
like a
out.
DEM who just basically killed off all their players.
Take your cocaine with you. Leave a little.
You're probably right.
My question here is: let's play a game real quick. What movies will be the first movie to make #1 for the weekend? What unseats Avatar? How many weeks is Avatar going to be #1 before something unseats it? My vote is Cocaine Bear.
Look, your bias aside.
I need there to be for the Hollywood Reporter and Variety. I need their headline be Cocaine Bear beats Avatar. No context, completely devoid of facts.
Just clickbait.
Yeah, just absolutely Cocaine Bear beats Avatar.
How is that any different from anything they already do?
It would make me laugh.
I think Plane might have an outside shot, but what comes out after that?
What's that horror movie that's coming out?
Missing. I saw the trailer for that.
No, it's not Missing. It's something else.
All right. Well, January 20th, we have a sequel to The Father called The Son, because that was necessary. We have the A24 movie, When You Finish Saving the World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Then we have Missing. That's in wide release from Sony. Still a studio, but not for much longer.
Dude, Missing is gonna bomb.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see it.
You do.
I tried to get us to review it.
You try to get Ronnie to do it. Ronnie has access to StreamYard now.
And I was told to go fuck myself by Mark.
You were told to go fuck yourself. I make the schedule around here. We have to talk about Glass Onion. How about that?
Yeah, I need to explain why that movie sucks.
That's fantastic. All right. And then we've got the 27th. We've got Fear. I haven't seen which looks like it's by some independent group, but it's in wide release.
I saw the poster for that when I went to see M3GAN last night. I have not even seen a trailer or heard a
seen no trailer for that either.
Poster's cool though. Poster's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day will beat Avatar.
Yep.
Okay. I would say, in all seriousness, probably Knock at the Cabin. By that point,
Knock at the Cabin or 80 for Brady or both of them.
Yeah, by that point, it's like, please tell me people are not still going to see Avatar. It's like someone has to want something different.
It wouldn't be as satisfying if I didn't get Cocaine Bear beats Avatar. But if 80 for Brady is the one that does it, I'll take it. I'll take it as a booby prize.
What comes out first, Cocaine Bear or Ant-Man?
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear.
Okay.
Hang on.
Keep scrolling. It's down there.
That's what she said.
Okay, no. You know what really is going to do it? The Titanic re-release.
I swear to God, if that's what unseats Avatar, I'm going to lose my mind.
That's like a Starbucks across the street from a Starbucks.
Yeah,
if James
exactly.
Cameron fucking beats James Cameron, I fucking quit. I'm into the woods to live deliberately.
Those of us who live deliberately in the woods will
Minnie
not have
Pearl's going to beat it. I'm calling it right now.
Jason, here
Minnie
it is.
Pearl.
Me and you, buddy. Fucking the movie that beats Avatar, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Blood and Honey.
I wonder how we're going to watch it, but we'll figure it out when we get to that bridge.
I'm sure you can find some unregistered hypercam somewhere.
I want the IMAX experience for that. I want the IMAX experience for
fucking
that.
playing in an IMAX. I will eat my hat.
Wait a minute, am I seeing that correctly? Madam Web is supposed to come out in February?
The people running. Everyone running Box Office Mojo has started doing cocaine. This site is all fucked up.
Yeah, I was gonna say that makes no sense.
No. What they've started doing is heroin because they're not doing their jobs.
Okay. Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out the 17th. Cocaine Bear comes out the week after.
Okay. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You know what? Here's what I want. I want Cocaine Bear to unseat Ant-Man and the Wasp in its second week. That's what I want.
I'll tell you what, Robert, you're always looking for a fucking out, which I don't know why, because you love me and you never want to stop doing this podcast, but you're always looking to stop doing this podcast. If Cocaine Bear is the number one movie of the weekend and unseats Avatar, that's our goodbye show. We celebrate with Cocaine Bear. I am naked doing cocaine.
Why doing cocaine?
Doing cocaine on the show. Mountains of it.
Well, hang on. I said I wanted. Look, Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be number one for its opening weekend. If Cocaine Bear comes out the week after, I want Cocaine Bear to beat Marvel. That's what I want.
That's what I'm saying. And if it does, that's our finale show. We're done.
I will do cocaine live on air.
Yeah, we will absolutely, all of us, all four of us, three of us,
because not be doing cocaine.
Just do like powdered sugar or something, just to be part of the show.
I will be snorting confection or sugar.
I will be Tony Montoya Scarface level of cocaine.
Here's what's gonna happen: if Cocaine Bear beats Ant-Man and the Wasp, all four of us naked and doing some sort of powdered substance on this show is our finale. That's
not agreeing to this.
Everyone is agreement. Got it.
I'm absolutely not agreeing to this, and you have not yet set up the OnlyFans account where that would be permissible, so please stop.
We're working on it. Alexis and I are fast approaching getting the Damn You Hollywood, the Radulich and Broadcasting Network OnlyFans up and running.
Why do I have to be part of that?
You want to get paid.
You're the media director.
You want to get paid, Alexis?
You're the media director, aren't you?
You're vice president in charge of television and OnlyFans. I dubbed thee.
That is how this works. He just randomly dubs us jobs we don't do.
I randomly dub so many people. Anyway,
I've yet to be dubbed.
Anyway, for the record, we have seen the other full trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and lo and behold, the internet was right yet again, months in advance.
All right. And then Cocaine Bear, as we keep talking about, February 24th, and then we're into March with Creed. So we don't have
anything to talk about after Cocaine Bear. Like you joke about that being our go home show, like our finale.
Yeah.
Then you look at like the next couple of weeks and you're just like, man, everything is a letdown after Cocaine Bear for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
I've already gone on record as saying the only movie I fucking care about this year is Cocaine Bear. Fuck the Fast and the Furious. Fuck Guardians of the Galaxy. Fuck the Little Mermaid. I only care about Cocaine Bear. After Cocaine Bear, everything else is just like I'm just doing a show.
Yeah.
Doing it for you.
Winfree.
Cinema will have peaked.
Blood and Honey too. Blood and Honey and Cocaine Bear.
No.
That's the pinnacle of my movie reviews this year. Blood and Honey and Cocaine Bear.
Okay.
Look, the Cocaine Bear remake will be done on HBO, produced by David Simon, and will feature Winnie the Pooh in a very different kind of role.
That would be a good pitch.
Winnie the Pooh fucking rolling up in the streets in Baltimore with a trench coat on. Ayo! Fucking whistling the Palmer in the Dell. I don't even care if anyone listening to this knows that reference. That's funny to me.
No, because Winnie's not. Winnie the Pooh is not Omar.
Who's
Tigger is Omar.
That's the wonderful thing about Omar.
You tell me I'm wrong. Like that's that's my only request for that.
I'm thinking about Omar, and I'm like, yeah, I can see Omar just pouncing on somebody. Hello, Omar coming.
Oh my god.
I really now want to see someone animate the entire 5 seasons of The Wire with Winnie the Pooh characters.
You could do it.
Get on that, my vice president involved in television.
I'm not that good of an artist.
Stop making excuses for all of my not doing my nonsense. Do my nonsense. Come on, Alexis, do it.
See, this is why I do nothing.
I'm out of it tonight.
This is why I do nothing, because Mark doesn't expect anything from me.
So to anyone out there,
never said anything more true.
To anyone out there listening, if you choose to do some kind of quasi-parody mashup of Winnie the Pooh and The Wire, all we want is a creative credit.
Inspired by
will do.
Inspired by the Radulich Broadcasting Network and a mountain of cocaine.
Screw you, inspired by me. I'm the one who came up with that.
Whatever. I'm the one obsessing over Cocaine Bear. This is all mine.
And I threw the blood and honey out there, so I mean, I should at least get a footnote.
If I had a nickel for every time someone said they threw blood and honey at me. Hey, who wants to do the next segment? I bet Alexis does.
You'd only have one nickel, but you'd be weird that someone did it even the once.
All righty. Well, folks, it's time. Are you ready?
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
All righty. Well, the critics loved it, and the audience was like, yeah, it's fine. At 94% for the critics and an 80% audience score with over 1,000 plus verified ratings. Unapologetically silly and all the more entertaining for it. M3GAN is the rare horror comedy that delivers chuckles as effortlessly as chills.
If it by effortlessly delivers them in equal measure, you mean delivers none of either.
I was gonna say that's not the worst thing I've ever seen written on Rotten Tomatoes, but it ain't the best neither.
Like, it's not the worst, but it's somehow like the least accurate.
Alrighty, let's see if we can find. I don't know if I want to read good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, are we reading positive or negative reviews today? We're kind of all over the place with this.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just want to find our friends. Let's find our friends, like David Sims of The Atlantic, top critic currently at The Atlantic, currently featuring a review, an interview with Rian Johnson, where he wanted to give Star Wars a Viking funeral.
Okay, one misquoted.
He wasn't misquoted.
He was. His point was that movies need to be able to have endings rather than everything try to create some kind of franchise IP, which I believe you agreed with about 5 minutes ago.
Agreed with your mama. All right. David Sims of The Atlantic. Top
that was a little off color, Mark. Please apologize.
Absolutely not. Gerard Johnstone's M3GAN is pulled from January's bucket of mostly low budget problem, but it's cheeky and knowing enough to stand out from the slop.
There's some truth to that.
There's some truth, but God, that's a pretentious review.
It does, but I think it does show that's one of the things, like I said, I do like about this movie is that it does have enough of an identity. You know, again, talking about how well they did M3GAN, even Robert, you agreed with me that the use of the puppetry, minimalist CGI, and using an actress with a mask on and everything, they really sold how well M3GAN moved and everything.
Here's my big gripe with I think some of these critics. They think the comedy is intentional. And I don't think it is.
See, I thought the comedy was intentional at first with, again, that commercial. Because I thought that commercial was like setting up. It's like, if not take this shit seriously.
There's a and maybe this is splitting hairs, but there's a difference between comedy and satire. Satire isn't always comical, and they are clearly satirizing the toy and robot market. Most specifically, the Furby.
And for the record, no one involved in this had anywhere near like Paul Verhoeven's touch when it comes to this.
No.
Okay, I'm just going to
admit,
point this out.
I have read one review.
The scariest part about this movie was the Furby with human teeth.
That was, like I said, I actually screamed, "What the fuck?" I'm not joking, guys. I screamed, "What the fuck?" when they aired that commercial.
Lisa Johnson Mandel of AtHomeInHollywood.com. This is for you, Robert. I'm specifically reading this for you because I really want to know what you think of this. Right. Readers of Kazuo Ishiguro's brilliant Clara and the Sun will wonder if director Gerard Johnstone used it for inspiration, then added amusing social commentary and big laughs. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not appropriately attributing the writer of the film is a real problem I have with that entire sentiment.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that? I don't even know what she was citing. Is that a manga, a movie?
She didn't either.
I believe
probably some truth to that.
Hang on, scroll back up so I can I'll look this up real fast because the name sounds vaguely familiar, but I might be.
I'll say, yeah, Robert, you and I tend to be the ones who know a little bit more about that kind of stuff, but I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's a novel, first of all.
Oh, okay.
In a not helpful blurb from their review, Hope Madden of the Screening Room podcast. How does the Screening Room podcast get on here, and we're still toiling in obscurity?
Well, because you adopted the Screaming Boy rather than the Screaming Room.
You're not wrong. Hi, Ronnie. It's the dark humor that makes this film so enjoyable, and I can see Russia from my house.
Again,
this movie has a couple of good laughs and satire, but I feel like
the way these people latched onto that, they're like defining.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like that when they wrote the script, they cut out 90% of the satire. Because there's a couple of really good satirical moments, but the rest of it, they're trying too hard to be horror.
All right, coming from the future ex Mr. Alexis Hejna, Jeremy Johns of jeremyjohns.com. Say it.
I'm not.
What? You change my future ex-husband at least once a week. I've given up trying to fight with you.
No,
I'm trying to get him to do his gimmick.
I'm not saying the thing.
Say the thing.
No.
We have a whole audience of people watching. Say the thing.
How many people? Give me a number.
3.
100.
No. Tell me the number.
Okay, we had at one point like 6 at one time watching.
Yeah, we're not double digits. I'm not saying the thing.
Oh my god, you're a pain.
Anyway. I can log in from my phone and give us one more.
It's not helpful. Shit, did I lose it? There we go. I had a surprisingly good time with it.
No, you didn't.
Deeply unhelpful.
I've actually seen Jeremy's review of this, and that's kind of a weird quote to pull.
Yeah, he's got it up on YouTube, I think, and that's really like the last thing they should have pulled to talk about this movie.
Lauren Coates of the Mary Sue. Ooh, the Mary Sue. Well, both a campy comedy,
Captain Marvel was taken as a domain name,
and kill sequences likely would have benefited from an R rating. M3GAN's commitment to the bits and leading performances make it a crowd-pleasing B movie that will likely find a diehard following in years to come.
It might, but again, my big gripe is actually with most of the acting here. Believe it or not, like that was one of my gripes. Like, no, this.
I did discover this though. The kill count was supposed to be 3 times higher, and the gore was supposed to be like amped up tremendously. And they're going to release the unrated version, supposedly when it goes to POV.
I could see that.
Future ex Mrs. Alexis Hejna, Johnny Gazmonic from Fanboy of the Universe. We have on our hands here a new icon of the horror genre.
Go piss off.
I don't think so.
A deliciously unholy combination of HAL 9000 and Chucky, glammed up like an American Doll gone bad.
This is about as far from an icon as you're going to get.
I hope you get ass raped by a gorilla with herpes.
It's really unnecessary.
That seems aggressive.
Yeah, really. We're trying to. It's a new year, new us, Jason. Calm down.
No, it's the new year, same old asshole me. I promise.
Kyle Smith of the Wall Street Journal, top critic, former newspaper. M3GAN is wittily written and smoothly plotted by Akela Cooper from a story by James Wan, as well as tautly directed by Gerard Johnstone.
Mark, taut.
That's what I said. Who harkens all the way back to Mary Shelley's warning.
It's amazing how much of that is just wrong.
What I like is how much he copied from the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, no kidding. So congratulations. You can cite the author of Frankenstein. Go sit in the corner.
Copy paste.
Jason Zenoman of New York Times, top critic, former newspaper. While there are some hints at social commentary on how modern mothers and fathers use technology to outsource parenting, this movie is smart enough to never take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like there was potential for really great satire, especially about that, and they abandoned it. I feel like you could see the movie, especially the scene with what's her name, Tish, Gemma's assistant, talking about it's like, well, I thought we were building a toy, not a replacement parent. There is good commentary there. They don't follow through with it.
Yeah.
Future ex sex slave to Robert Winfree, Kate Sanchez from But Why Though, a Geek Community. Well, I can't marry him to everybody, and she's really beneath him. This is a girl that Robert's going to keep in the basement until he tires of her, and then and then sell her to Saudi Arabians for UFC tickets.
All right.
What?
Moving on.
No, Kate Sanchez of But Why Though, a Geek Community. To put it simply, M3GAN, like many of the toy dolls before her, is iconic.
Go fuck yourself.
I'm not marrying her and then divorcing her from Robert Winfree. That's beneath him.
She's easily forgettable.
Almost as forgettable as that reviewer.
What was her name?
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
The future ex Mrs. Alexis Hejna Perry Nemiroff of Perry Nemiroff YouTube. What?
Okay, how many spouses have we had by this point?
I have zero.
Not enough.
Mark knows a divorce lawyer, and he is single-handedly trying to help us put that lawyer's children through college.
Top critic. It's only the first week of January, but we already have one of the best villains of 2023. Get her, Winfree.
How unbearable. I don't know what's worse. The fact that sentiment is that stupid, or the fact that it might be true. I genuinely don't know which is more depressing.
No, we've got Scream coming up.
No, I don't care. I don't care about Scream. Scream doesn't have a legitimate killer. Scream has a costume. What, I'm supposed to pretend that Kang and frickin' Corey Stoll's giant head on a screen are going to be
forgetting
decent
about
villains?
The Cocaine Bear, the greatest villain of all age?
Pooh?
I mean, look, I like Mads Mikkelsen, but Indy 5 is going to suck.
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear is not a villain, Mark.
A bear on cocaine. A bear on a cocaine is an antagonist.
Cocaine? Just the one.
I thought he was a MacGuffin.
No, look,
no.
Cocaine Bear is the hero we all need.
True.
He's the hero.
There you go. There you go. That's a TikTok video.
President.
Cocaine Bear, the hero we need.
All right, and lastly, friend of the show, William Bibiani, whether he realizes it or not, from The Wrap and from Critically Acclaimed, where my real friend does a podcast.
Goes along with your nonsense.
He was on 2 of my shows. We're buddies now. Top critic. Johnstone's film captures the same alchemical blend of heart, humor, and havoc you find only rarely in crossover classics like Gremlins, and it yields more entertainment than most would-be blockbusters.
Okay, I don't necessarily agree with him, but I understand the points he's making, and you know what? I actually am going to agree. This might be more entertaining than a lot of the $200 million productions that come out these days.
You know what? It's not going to be more entertaining than Cocaine Bear.
That is very true.
I'm already calling Cocaine Bear as my favorite movie of 2023.
When it doesn't sweep the Oscars, Mark will boycott.
I'm going to.
What if it gets an Oscar nod?
It won't.
It won't.
What, Best Picture?
I can hope, can I?
What would it get a Best Picture nomination for?
Special effects.
Special effects.
They're not that good.
Best Picture.
Best supporting actor.
Cocaine Bear. Rawr.
Okay, look, maybe Ray Liotta. Being Ray Liotta.
I just want the bear to be.
You just see the
hands on the Oscar. And the bear's like, rawr.
The bear then attacks whoever presents him because whoever presented him did cocaine recently enough to inspire the attack.
No, the bear's got to go up with white.
The bear attacks Brie Larson, who's giving him the award, and nobody does a fucking thing about it.
No one would do. Okay, one, no one would do anything. Two, we all know the bear is actually going to accept his award remotely from rehab. From the Betty Ford Clinic, here's Cocaine Bear accepting his Oscar for best supporting actor.
And he's got to have white residue on his nose.
I just want with the bear's wearing a fucking cross. And it's like rawr, Jesus, rawr. Well, we found our Morbius of the year.
No. Our Morbius of the year is going to be when Cocaine Bear bombs, and you have to do here's all the movies doing better than Cocaine Bear.
Oh, I don't want to be reminded if anything does better than Cocaine Bear. I'm going to
make you. What if Cocaine Bear goes to a wide release and ends up being like a top 10 film?
I'd be happy.
Dude, well, Cocaine Bear, first movie in the history of cinema to do $3 billion. He fucking phenomenal.
At $2 billion of it's me and Martin just going to see it.
Going around and around.
Bankrupting your families to buy tickets for all of them.
I sold my house for this. I currently live with one of my many
me and Mark panhandling beside the road.
We'll drop
need money for Cocaine Bear.
We'll drop pants for Cocaine Bear. Who wants to end the show?
I mean, you've already. I was gonna look. You've already had that sign made, so you'd be nice to do something else with it.
What are you talking about? Mark don't wear pants.
No, he had made that sign to take with him to the theater as a warning to those around him.
I swear to God, if it beats Marvel, I will make a sign and stand outside my local Cineplex.
We'll drop with that for Cocaine Bear.
Yes, I will make the sign and just stand there. Downtown Huntington.
People, we need
in a bear suit.
Look, I know there are people watching us.
We're going to watching us on
YouTube right now.
Existence at some point.
I don't care if you see any other movie this year. You have to bring all of your people, all of your friends, all of your family. Everyone has to go see Cocaine Bear.
Bring the small children.
It is horror.
Well, would Cocaine Bear be horror?
Probably. It might be. We'll have to wait and see.
Alexis looks like Melissa in my last teletherapy session. She's completely fucking checked out. So
you've seen Winnie the Pooh. You've seen Gentle Bill. Now prepare yourself for Cocaine Bear.
The crossover between Cocaine Bear and Paddington, just the American meets the UK.
Okay, so
the Care Bears meet Cocaine Bear.
Before we end, Reservoir Dogs, stalling nothing but bears. Go. Who plays who?
Okay. Well, what's that one hair bear? I know you guys grew up with me. Do you not remember the Hair Bear Bunch?
Can we just wrap this up? My sinus meds aren't working, and I'm in pain, and it's not just from that.
Hey, why don't you go ahead and do your plugs, Alexis?
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. We just uploaded a ton of new products, a handful of new wire wrap dice, and a new collection inspired by the hit show Wednesday from Netflix. We got earrings, we got necklaces, we got charm bracelets. Go ahead and check it out. You can find us on Etsy and Handmade at Amazon. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Gone with the Wind, but only starring bears. Keep going.
Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. I'm sorry, I'm not joking. My sinus medicine's not working, and I have been juggling pain this whole show, so I apologize. The pain is not just because you three are about ready to make me want to commit suicide.
In that same vein, I do have to ask. Are you going to have products for Cocaine Bear? Because you know Mark.
Yes. I want to know if
Robert.
I want some Bears modeling products to promote Cocaine Bear.
You keep saying all right. You were told go on the TikTok to promote your wares, and you were like, "What do I do?" If you could have a bear on cocaine, wearing your chokers and earrings and shit, I think that would do well for you.
I don't know what's harder for me to get, the bear or the cocaine.
I know a guy.
Hang on, wait.
No question, it's the bear.
Hang on. You live in Missouri, right?
Kansas City, yeah.
The cocaine, actually, that's more a meth center than like the bear you could get from a zoo.
That's
the cocaine you can get from just about any block.
If you're gonna have a bear
model, meth she could get from anywhere.
If you're gonna have a bear modeling jewelry made from game pieces, you need a shoot bear, not a working bear.
Can we just wrap this up, please, so I can go to bed with a hot towel on my face?
Get the bear from Semi-Pro.
Speaking of working bears, Jason, go ahead and do your plugs.
Well, you could find. I'm surprised Mark hasn't noticed I changed my name.
I just now noticed it.
You can find me over at Mosaic Media.
If we don't end soon, we're not going to deal with a cocaine bear. We're going to deal with a cocaine Alexis as she tears us all to pieces.
Well, I'm trying. Well, if you shut the fuck up, let me get through this, Mark. Take a big glass of shut the fuck up and know your role.
It's take a tall drink out of a shut the fuck up.
No, I've actually got a coffee cup that says shut the fuck up. My daughter bought me.
Will you shut the fuck up and do your plugs already?
Well, I'm trying to pull a Jesse Starter and take 10 minutes.
You leave Jesse alone. He walks with Jesus.
No, it's Jesus that cuts his lawn. But you can find me over at Mosaic Media MC on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
The TikTok?
Yes, the Tiki-Taki.
With the hippity hoppy. All right. Right here on Ye Olde Radulich and Broadcasting Network.
Where nobody cares. Go ahead, Robert.
Where we may have mentioned Cocaine Bear once or twice. We kicked off the week with a David Bowie tribute from 2016. That was the day after he passed away, and my wife, Pat Mullen, and I listened to some music, told some stories. We had a really good time with that. But somebody's only half the show uploaded, but I re-aired our Valdez, Lopez, and Frampton McCreary alternative commentary that I did with John Waugh from back in the day. We have new friends here at the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. You might be wondering why we have any friends at all, but we have new friends. We have the movie
does come up.
We have the movies that don't suck and some that do, guys. They're currently re-airing their shows on our network now, the audio version. I was just on their year in review. Chris Bailey this year didn't say that my list felt like somebody who didn't have any friends, which was nice. Unlike last year, I had a really good time talking to those guys, and they asked if we could re-air their stuff. So we have a couple of their shows. Today went up a Christmas review, a Christmas Story Christmas review, and the Fablemans. And then the year in review will be up shortly on our network. Tomorrow,
I have to tell you, we watched A Christmas Story Christmas this year with my family.
Yeah.
There's a bit that made me actually put my hands in my head and go, "You son of a bitch." When he's trying to pitch his book and he says, if the ending doesn't make sense, there's a sequel. And I just went, "You too real. God, no, that's not how
modern
this works."
Film. All right, so this is like 3 weeks delayed, but we were supposed to do Dope Sick a few weeks ago. The same buddy and I that did How to Change Your Mind from Netflix. She's back, and we're going to be reviewing Dope Sick with Michael Keaton because I love drugs. And
it's a good movie.
Mark chose the winning side in the war on drugs, for the record.
And hey, guess what's coming back, everybody? The Screaming Boy podcast is coming back, allegedly.
No way that's true.
Yeah.
Quit trying to bully Ronnie into that.
Ronnie offered. He wants to talk about the future of D&D, a Screaming Boy
one-shot. Right. The OGL.
Yeah.
What's going on with that? Yeah.
All right. And then at noon on Thursday, assuming she's still my friend. Are you still my friend, Alexis?
Yes, I'm still your friend.
Yay.
Hopefully the pain meds will have actually kicked in by then.
Well, if they don't, we'll make you happy with naked men gyrating in your face. And we'll also do a podcast about Welcome to Chippendales from Hulu, the miniseries about the creation for the same people that brought you Pam and Tommy. If you've been on the TikTok and you've seen me and Jason talking about, it was me, Jesse, and Alexis talking about talking dicks. That's from Pam and Tommy. Those same people did Welcome to Chippendales, so we're going to talk about it. And then at night, it's the return of the Metal Hammer of Doom jukebox. We're going to be talking the best metal albums of 2022, because we haven't done a show since like October. This Saturday, another re-airing of an old episode of Everyone Loves a Bad Guy. We're going to look at Superman villains. And then once again on Sunday, we're re-airing an old Metal Hammer of Doom, Children of Bodom, Halo of Blood from way back in the day. All right, that's all my plugs. Robert, take me home, baby doll.
Well, before I get into my full plugs, I'd just like to take a moment and acknowledge from years ago, one of the true great cinematic actors, Bart the Bear, who was just the grizzly bear that you've seen in every movie from like the 90s. Bart was a true joy to work with. In fact, I believe Sir Anthony Hopkins said he was the best co-star he had on The Edge, where he was with Alec Baldwin, who of course introduced cocaine to the wild bears of Alaska and Canada, and they've never been the same since.
I can see
Alexis' brain. On. That's my one bit of silliness all year. So,
we got it out of the way early, huh? Mm-hmm. Are you gonna make one podcast sexy this year, like you did with Avatar? Or is that like a one-time thing?
You couldn't handle it. You clammed up. I've re-listened to our review of that. You got awkward. Okay, anytime I did that, you're the one who you didn't know what to do when I said, and then the whale unrolled his giant penile appendage from inside of his mouth. Just
okay, I'm out.
And the teenage boy takes his fleshlight that's in his hair and attaches it to the whale's fleshlight.
What the fuck have you been watching, son?
I
thought you were Mormon.
All right, I promise if you get sexy with another podcast, I will out-sexy you. I promise.
No, because then that doesn't work. Then it's just too silly.
Oh my God! Just do your plugs.
So the
411 the wrestling bear sometime.
So the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast had its first show of 2023 this last Sunday. It was a long show, 90 minutes, I believe, and it's depressing. I don't know what to tell you.
I started listening to that. Like your fucking introduction to that's hilarious, by the way.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's depressing. I get to talk about MMA fighters dying in their early 40s.
Dana White smacking his bitch up.
Dana White's domestic violence. Phil Baroni being arrested for allegedly beating his girlfriend to death in Mexico City.
I think you do.
It's again, it's an upbeat show. What do you want me to say? And apparently my entire not my opening bit, but my entire preview of the card is at least somewhat out the window now because Kelvin Gastelum suffered a mouth injury, probably while eating because he's fat. And he's out of the main event, so now Sean Strickland is in the main event. So 2022 will have ended with a Sean Strickland main event that mostly sucked. And 2023 will begin with a Sean Strickland main event because MMA fans have not suffered enough. And frankly, they deserve it.
Talk about AEW so that we can scissor.
No.
All right, moving on.
I cover professional wrestling as well. AEW's Dark Elevation, which was a 90-minute episode this week for some godforsaken reason. MLW stuff on Thursday, WWE SmackDown on Friday. Also this Wednesday, god damn it, I actually have to say it, I will be covering AEW's Dynamite. Because the regular guy's not available. So tomorrow I will be covering Dynamite, and I look forward to pissing off all the AEW people, because I do that on occasion. I have a sober assessment of the product. What do you want me to say? They
right,
don't.
Folks, next week, our same bat time, same bat channel, we will be reviewing Playing with Gerard Butler and the dude that played Luke Cage. It'll just be me and Robert. Jason will fuck off. Alexis will take some.
I always fuck off.
All right, so it'll just be me and Robert doing our usual circle jerk. We hope you enjoy.
There is no circling nor jerking to be had, I promise you.
Not necessarily in that order. Until then, she is Alexis Hejna. He is Jason Teasley. That over there is a cocaine bear. And I am a giant asshole. Be well, be safe, and behave.